All right. All right. I want to get YouTube a second to send out notifications. Um, Sometimes YouTube's notifications is garbage. What is good, everybody?
Said, what's going up, man?
Hey, how's it going? How you doing? What is good, everybody? It is the Godfather of VR, the ageless one of the man, Lincoln Clay, and we're back for a live stream. And tonight, we are checking out the PlayStation Pro. I just got home from picking that up a few hours ago. And it took me a while to get it set up, so I had to do the data transfers from my old PS5 to the PS5 Pro. I had to get the PSVR 2 set up. I had to get GT7 downloaded, which is a pretty big file. It's about 125 gigs. So that took about an hour. So, talking about the PS5 Pro a little bit. As we all know that the PS5 Pro is supposed to make games look a little bit better. Ray tracing. And I guess with all that, with the intentions of maintaining a consistent frame rate. So, I guess the PSSR technology is the catalyst for all this.
RL9010 said, I don't expect much difference until an update. RL9010 said, I do see better replay visuals.
Oh, you got one too, RL? You got a Pro as well?
Great Tantrum said, the patch isn't ready yet, I think.
No, the patch isn't ready yet. So I guess jumping straight into it.
RL9010 said, transferring data now.
Okay, I think you and I, RL, have a huge time difference. Like right now, it is 11:20.
Great Tantrum said, the Pro, however, will run GT7 at 4K at 120 FPS.
Well, as far as PSVR 2 goes, it was already running it at 120 frames, albeit the FSR technology.
RL9010 said, 8:30 here.
Okay, it's 11:24 p.m. here, or 11:30 p.m. But jeez, hold on. But yeah, coming back to what I was saying about Tantrum. Yeah, the PSVR 2 already, it pretty much runs just about all games at 120 frames per second, albeit the FSR technology where it's inserting fake frames in between the real frames, which is what causes, which is basically the reprojection, and that causes the ghost trailing or blur.
Great Tantrum said, yeah, on flat screen it is a solid 120 in 4K.
So after getting some information, basically the PSSR technology is not going to be, I guess it wasn't going to be available at launch for PSVR 2. But nonetheless, there's still a few PSVR 2 games. There's a couple of them that I guess got the Pro patch, like No Man's Sky. I guess Resident Evil 4, I think, and Resident Evil Village.
Said, hey all.
Hey, how's it going? So I have yet to check those games out to see if I can see a difference. So let's get straight to it. I mean, I'm going to do a race, but telling you what I saw, let's get straight to it. I was not going to buy the PS5 Pro because I assumed that being that it wasn't going to get a Pro patch for PSVR 2, I figured that it would look exactly the same. I figured the reprojection would be the same. It would still be blurry going around corners.
Great Tantrum said, Before on base PS5 you could run it at 120 Hz on flat screen at 4K, but the game only got up to 90 FPS. The Pro bumps it up to 120 FPS now.
Yeah, I have not taken a look at this game flat screen yet. And I really don't need to, because I've heard from a couple of people, you know, Hard 8 Gaming, he definitely said that he saw a difference with the Pro as far as GT7 flat screen. He said it definitely looks better now, but I'm talking about PSVR 2. So initially I was not going to buy the Pro because I expected things to look exactly the same because it's not getting a Pro patch. But Frogboy1X Gaming, I watched his video and he said that the game through PSVR 2, it looked cleaner, it ran smoother. He said the mirror and the blur was gone. So that was enough to make me jump up and go drive to Best Buy, and I bought one right on the spot and got home. So I just got done taking a quick look at it, and my initial reaction was that I felt like he was right, that it did look cleaner initially. And it did run smoother. As far as the mirror and the blur goes,
Trump said, "Oh wow."
So, as far as the mirror and the blur goes, he was probably right about the mirror, because I kind of remember seeing the PSVR 2 having a dirty looking screen on the PS5, but it doesn't really look dirty on this Pro. So maybe that was something that I noticed. But the blur, that's where I'm having a hard time. There's it definitely runs good, but I think the PS5 ran the original PS5 ran good anyway. So I never expected the frame rate to be an issue.
Never seen Mura in GT7.
To me, it had, like, when I first got my PSVR 2 last year, GT7 had a little bit of a dirty tint to it, and so if you want to call that mirror, but I played with the settings and I got it to a likable state.
Eric McCready said, "I bought mine but still in box, so Clay, I'm waiting for you to test it out. I'm at work." Old Darth said, "I've noticed the PSVR 2 on PC has almost no Mura."
Oh yeah, I would imagine. So trying to explain this, initially my first impression was I felt like it did look cleaner. It definitely ran good. I felt like I did not see any mirror, but the blur was the issue. The reprojection is still there. No question about it. So when you go around corners, that blur is still there. So for Frogboy to say that the blur was totally gone, I don't know what he was looking at. But yeah, there's still blur there from the reprojection. It is just at times it seems a lot less, but at times it seems like it's just as much reprojection as the PS5. So there's times where I'm going around corners on the track where I barely notice it, but then there's times where I do notice it. But it's not blurry to the point where I can still make out everything. I can still see the entire track. I can still see corners and stuff like that. It's just it probably looks, to me, it probably looks more like a ghost trail than it does blur.
Darth said, "Hope GT7 gets a 90 FPS native patch that would get rid of reprojection."
It would, but I don't think it's gonna happen because anybody who races, sim racing on PC knows that those games are demanding. If this game was on, if GT7 was on PC and you were to play it in VR, I think
Trump said, Is blurring so bad that it is hard to ignore, or can you look past it and forget it?
I can look past it, but so yeah, at times the blur seems to be about the same as it was on PS5. At times it seems like it's less. I can look past it. But I guess it's too soon for me to make a final judgment call. I plan on taking a look at a couple of other games this weekend. I plan on taking a look at No Man's Sky because that got a pro patch, and the 2 Resident Evil games, Resident Evil 4 Remake and Resident Evil 5. What I'm going to be looking for is the same thing there, the reprojection, to see how bad it is. But let's jump in and do a couple of laps, and I'll tell you what I'm seeing live. Okay, so now, like, looking at the screen right here, because, like, technically we're still flat screen. We're not in VR yet. But looking at the flat screen through this VR headset, which would be like the theater mode, it does look cleaner. I think I gotta clean my glasses real quick though, so hold on.
Great Tantrum said, I hope the Pro patch will address VR. But PSSR is not yet available for VR until a few months. Great Tantrum said, perhaps we might not see a giant leap in VR for GT7 until PSSR is ready for VR.
You would think that they would have it ready for this game. Thank you for the follow.
Andre Nagel, thanks for following. RL9010 said, loads faster for sure.
Yeah. You would think that they would have a pro patch ready for this game, because when it comes to PSVR 2, this game is their flagship title. This is the game that they want to be a showpiece. You know, that this is the game that they want you to show off to other people to try to get them to buy the PSVR 2. So you would think that with GT7 being the flagship game of PSVR 2, this is the one game that should have had a pro patch at launch. So I don't understand how the flat version of this game got a patch, but the VR didn't get a patch. I find that puzzling and disappointing. So we are going to do a daily race. And I think that would be a real good situation to, so looking at this screen right here, I
Great
can't.
Tantrum said, did I get my dates wrong? I thought the Pro is out on the 9th.
Nope.
It's today, I see.
Came out today.
RL9010 said, Flat can do 8K 30 now. Old Darth said, flat games will always get priority.
Yeah,
unfortunately, said, 8K 60 at QLA.
All right.
Said, no, it can't do 8K 30. LOL.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to get set up. So no, it cannot do 8K 30. It can do 4K. It could do 4K 120 with the ray tracing. That's the other thing I found odd. Why did it take them to have to come out with another console in order to do ray tracing? Because for for all the laughing and giggling that the PlayStation people did about games looking and running better on PS5 versus Xbox Series X, on Forza Motorsports, the ray tracing is there. And because of the ray tracing,
Great Tantrum said, the Pro patch will allow 8K 60 when it is ready.
As far as I can't say what they have planned as far as a patch goes. I mean, as of right now, it already got a patch for the 4K 120 flat screen. There's 4K 120 with ray tracing, because that's in-game ray tracing.
The PS5 Pro was what the PS5 was supposed to do.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying, and I agree with that. Oh shit. So going around this corner right here, yeah, the ray tracing, it's there, but it seems to be more noticeable off track when you're looking at the trees and stuff. You can see the reprojection from the trees. But coming down this straightaway right here is absolutely clear. Hold on, I gotta turn on my bass shakers here for a second. I can't believe I forgot that. All right, there we go. Okay. So yeah, going around corners was the really big issue. Now moving slow right here. What the fuck? Yeah, I still got some blur in my glasses. I gotta clean my glasses again. Okay, so I get to this corner. If I go around this corner slowly, the reprojection feels minimal. Like the track, I don't see any blur or ghosting on the track. It's around the outside of the track where the trees and stuff are at. That seems to be what stands out the most. Well, let's see how this looks going full speed.
Will you get prescription lenses for VR too?
Afraid not, because my vision changes. Because with me having diabetes, my vision changes. If I take in too many carbs, my vision can get blurry until, until I start doing some cardio. The inside of this car too, it seems like it looks a little bit cleaner. Oof. So yes, sitting here at a standstill. Hold on. So yeah, sitting here at a standstill. Everything, you know, looks clear, but it doesn't look sharp the way I would see it. You know,
even if the Pro could do 8K, no game engine can support that, nor will people be buy 8K TVs.
Yeah.
Old Darth said, the Pro could make the reprojection stand out more because the straight-on viewpoint is being rendered better.
In theory, that's logical. But telling you what I see right now, as I'm slowly going around this corner, like the track definitely looks clear. I don't see any reprojection on the track itself, but like the trees, you see a slight bit of reprojection, but the faster you go around corners, the more obvious it's going to be. So
Great Tantrum said, at Hip Elf, to achieve 8K, the PS5 Pro will use upscaling via PSSR. Raw 8K is super intensive.
So, all right, I'm at full speed right here. So at this point, the way I would probably describe it, going around corners, so that's where it's most obvious at, going around corners. If I'm going around corners really fast, like the trees and everything off track is the most obvious part, where you can see the reprojection, where you can see, you know, blur, ghost trail, what have you, and things in the distance. But once you come out of that corner and you're going down the straight, everything is just clear. This doesn't have PC sharpness, but it's clear enough that I can see everything. And
Great Tantrum said, do donuts.
Mm-hmm.
Said, maybe, but I remember telling people 5 years ago that but scaling was the future and they laughed. LOL, can't wait to see what AI does in VR/AR. RL9010 said, scaling is not the future.
That's a tough one, because when I'm racing in PC, when I'm racing in VR on PC, I do upscale the resolution. When I use pick it up right here. When I use my PlayStation, not my PlayStation, when I use my MetaQuest Pro.
RL9010 said, it's a band-aid. Old Darth said, you need to be able to switch between a PS5 and the Pro to really tell the difference.
Well, I got a PS5, and as I was saying earlier, I took a look at, you know, Grand GT7 on both the PS5 and the PS5 Pro as far as, you know, PSVR 2 goes.
Said, a gap technology.
And again, there's times where as far as
Great Tantrum said, if done right, a 1440p image can look better than a raw 4K image if it uses AI upscaling. It's a real possibility.
That I'm not so sure about.
Said. Yes, it is. LOL. It's cheaper and achieves it with less hardware.
Now, as far as upscaling goes, I can't really.
Great tantrum. Said. Less resolution for better performance, yet look as though it is running higher than it actually is.
Oh.
RL9010. Said. Maybe for the consumer level.
Upscaling, I can't really say anything bad about the upscaling because I get a super clear picture when I'm streaming, when I'm racing in VR on PC. Because I upscale the resolution all the way up to like 3400p. I can even go higher than that.
RL9010 said. It's no comparison vs raw 8K.
I'll put it to you this way. Like this right here, the upscaling right now, looking through this headset, it's not a bad thing, but compared to a PC, my guess is that the technology doesn't match up with DLSS yet, or this, or until it gets a pro patch, raw PS5, you could make a case that it just doesn't have enough power to give you a clear picture.
Said. I have installed the first 8K slow motion replay system in the world.
And the other thing is, in my opinion, another huge strike against GT7 PSVR 2 is that they are still using the old-ass dated Fresnel lenses in this headset. Pancake lenses are the standard now. So, but I guess there's something with, OLED panels and pancake lenses. I'm hearing shit that long and short of it doesn't get along well. Somebody will find a way to make that work. They probably could have made this headset with many LEDs, and that would have given you blacks that would be comparable to an OLED screen, and then they could have used pancake lenses on this headset. But that's the other big strike against this, is that this headset, if this headset had pancake lenses, the picture would be clear. It would be more clear right out the gate, even with weaker hardware. Let's go see if we can register for a race. Oops. Okay. We get registered. So to bottom line it,
Great tantrum. Said. Pancake lenses does not need precise IPD like Fresnel does?
no. Pancake lenses, you get a clear picture from top to bottom, from left to right.
Hip Elf. Said. Yeah, Quest 3 pictures is way better, but Meta has a headset with holographic lens and HDR hopefully coming out in 2030.
HDR doesn't really make a difference to me. All I care about is a smooth frame rate in a sharp picture. So this right here, it runs smooth. The sharp picture, no, it doesn't have a sharp picture the way I would get out of my PCs. But that's unfair to compare it to my PCs, because what I've got 4 PCs. One of those PCs, I spent about $4,000 building that PC, and the other one I spent $3,000 building those PCs. So it's kind of not fair to compare it to those PCs, because those PCs are expected to outperform this console. So again, the picture is clear, but it's not razor sharp. And I guess the reason why I keep stuttering and keep hesitating is I think long and short of it is, based on what I saw with my naked eye, switching back and forth between the PS5 and the PS5 Pro on this headset, the PS5 and the PS5 Pro pretty much look the same.
Said, wait. HDR is supposed to trump higher resolution. The color and the light supposed to catch the eye better, I thought.
I mean, that's another conversation for another day, because I know this headset does support HDR on the console, but I guess the best way to answer that is
said, why not both?
I don't know. I mean, if Sony would have been able,
Great Tantrum said, True RL. Nick said, when is LMU getting GT3?
I would like to think that Le Mans Ultimate is going to get GT3s probably in the next couple of weeks, because the last time they gave us like
RL9010 said, most of what we do in the professional world is 8K HDR, no questions.
Yeah, long and short of it, I expect to see the GT3s in the next couple of weeks.
RL9010 said, SDR 709 is going to take a backseat.
So, I'm still, long and short of it, I'm still fighting. I'm still fighting with myself.
Said, the HRD in the PSVR 2 is different than the one Meta is working on. The HDR in PSVR 2 is toned down vs the 40,000 nits HDR in Meta future VR headset.
As far as what Meta's doing, as far as HDR goes, I have no idea, and I guess that's something I will address when it comes out. But as far as PC headsets goes, right now I'm more than happy with the MetaQuest Pro being my headset.
RL9010 said, more nits does not equals better.
So, yeah, yeah, I'm a little surprised by how much comments are coming in, but long and short of it, I am having a hard time distinguishing whether I feel like I see a difference between the PS5 Pro and the PS5. I feel like if I'm seeing a difference between the PS5 and the PS5 Pro, it is only slight. That being said, if you choose not to get a PS5 Pro and you want to stick with the PS5 as far as PSVR 2 goes, at the moment, I think you would be fine as far as GT7 goes. Now, but I can't, I still got to test a couple of other games this weekend, but this is my first impression, and it's probably not the best game to make my first impression on because it doesn't have a Pro patch. I would like to think that if it did get a Pro patch, we would see a noticeable difference, but this game doesn't have a Pro patch for PSVR 2.
Said, LOLOKRL.
So bottom line is, anywhere where I think I might see a difference is only slight. So I haven't really seen anything on this PS5 Pro where, I haven't seen anything like, okay, that's where the PS5 Pro, that's where its power shines through. I haven't seen that yet.
RL9010 said, good to see a consumer perspective though.
Well, I mean, I was not going to buy this console. I bought it because Frogboy 1X said that he said it was clear. There was no blur. Now that's
Great
the part.
Tantrum said, it just tells me to go buy a new PC instead.
And that would probably end up being my recommendation, to tell you the truth. Because now, like with this PS5 Pro costing $700, and the headset costing $600 if you buy the Call of the Mountain bundle, you're at $1,300. Now we're in a position where I would tell you that if you're willing to build a PC with secondhand parts, you can build
RL9010 said, until a patch we really want no.
Yeah. So now things gets a little bit in the gray area between PSVR 2 and PC VR, because now if you're willing to buy secondhand parts, you can build a pretty beefy PC for $1,000 and get the MetaQuest 3 for $500. So now you'd be looking at $1,500.
Great Tantrum said, get a RTX 4080 based PC. That will be a huge upgrade from my current GTX 1080 PC.
Well, with all the testing that I've been doing on PC over the past couple of days, if you want to get if you want to build a beefy PC, but you want to try to keep the cost down as much as possible, I think the 3080 Ti would be a good GPU that will cover you across the board, where you could run just about any racing game in VR and get a pretty good experience.
Old Dart said, gotta go. Good luck.
Appreciate you popping in. So again, the long and short of it is the reprojection was my biggest reason for buying this console, because when Frogboy said that there was no blur, I figured there would be a little bit of blur.
Said, RTX 3080.
3080 Ti, I think, would be, because there's a difference. I believe a 3080 has 8 gigs of VRAM, and I think a 3080 Ti has 12 gigs of VRAM. So no, there is a noticeable jump between a 3080 and a 3080 Ti. So if you're going to build a PC and you want to keep the cost down, I think the 3080 Ti would be a good card to go with, because it'll give you a pretty beefy car without breaking the bank, if you're willing to buy it secondhand. So yeah, Frogboy, I really don't know what he was looking at when he said the blur was gone, because when I go around corners, again, sometimes the reprojection or blur, sometimes it's minimal, sometimes it's like really noticeable.
Great Tantrum said, okay.
And it also doesn't help that this headset has a really small sweet spot. If you look outside of the sweet spot, edges get soft or even blurry. All right, here we go. So okay, so yeah, I mean, so coming down the straightaway, yeah, it seems like it feels a little bit cleaner. What a jerk.
Great tantrum. Said. When I build a new PC I don't care about fancy crap like lighting. I want what is important. Flashiness is far less important for me. Can say been there.
What an idiot. Oh! All right, I think I might have finally found where I think I might have found where the extra horsepower of the Pro might have actually kicked in. And I'll explain it.
Great tantrum. Said. The game looks like a sim, plays like a bumper cart race.
Yeah, it does look good on the straights, though. No question about that.
Said. What did you found that the Pro is making a difference?
I was less distracted by the reprojection when the race first started, and I was like right in the middle of the pack of fighting all the other cars. I noticed that the other cars, to me, they looked like they were looked a little bit better, looked a little bit cleaner, and I was a little less distracted by the reprojection. So I guess maybe that's my way of saying that maybe, you know, the reprojection is still there, but again, at times it seems to be less. Yeah, coming around that corner, the reprojection seemed to be less. Oh my Lord. What the hell was that? Oh, my car's damaged. There we go.
Great tantrum. Said. The video is pretty smooth.
Oh,
I'm
thank
not
you.
seeing any stuttering or drop frames on my end.
Oh, cool. Got a little bit greedy.
Glory 0209 said, hello Godfather.
Glory, how you doing?
0209 said, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you? So one more lap to go and then I'll give the final verdict.
Glory 0209 said, you got that overclocked PS5.
Pretty much.
said. I am good, my man.
Good to hear.
Rebuilding my PC.
Ah!
Took the 13700K out and got 14900K now.
Oh, you got the 14900K?
Glory 0209 said. Power supply and USB issue was the problem.
Ah.
Glory 0209 said. 14,900K.
Yeah, the 13900K and the 14900K were reported to, you know, I guess they were having problems. Ooh, took a hit. All right. I will say that during that race, on the straightaways, yes, the picture was clear. And I think I get what Frog Boy meant when he said it looked cleaner, because the picture to me was no sharper than the PS5, but the picture looked cleaner from the standpoint of it didn't have a dirty tint look to it like I saw on the PS5.
Said. Clay, what do you think about AMD CPUs?
My main computer, I've got the 7800 X3D in my main computer, so they're very hard to get. They are definitely in demand. So I guess Linus Tech Tick reported that the upcoming 9800 X3D pretty much performs the same as the 7800 X3D. So I would probably go with the 7800 X3D. That sounds like you'll get the same performance at a cheaper cost. So I think that dirty tint, that charcoal look, that wasn't there. So the colors seem to, you know, be more prominent. It did run good, but then again, I felt like the PS5 ran good too. The reprojection, again, that's the stickler. The reprojection is there. Make no mistake about it. At times, depending on how fast I'm going into a corner, at times the reprojection seemed minimal. At times the reprojection seemed just as bad as the PS5. So yeah, in that sense, at times the reprojection was noticeable. And so I guess other than a couple of minor things, I really don't see much difference from the PS5. However, I will say that if this game gets a PSVR 2 patch, I think it might make a world of difference. So, in a nutshell, like based on this game alone, without a PS Pro patch, my final verdict would be that if you already have a PS5, PSVR 2, and all you are concerned about is GT7 on PSVR 2,
Great Tantrum said. Please PD give us the 90 Hz mode.
So, based on what I saw through this headset for GT7, I don't think I saw enough that I would recommend going out and get the PS5 Pro. If you already have the PS5, you're fine. There was no jump. There wasn't a big enough jump that I saw that would make me say trade in your PS5 and go get a PS5 Pro. That's just based on this game. Now, No Man's Sky supposedly got a patch. So I'm gonna take a look at that this weekend. In fact, let me start the download. Did I go past it? There it is. All right, let's see how big the file is. So the file is looks like it's 19 gigs. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get a chance to take a look at it before I go to bed. This is already 12:30 here, so I should be in bed.
Great Tantrum said, No Man's Sky new patch has an 8K mode, believe it or not. That is crazy.
I don't know as far as the flat screen patch goes, but I guess it is. But I think it has. Well, I'll put it this way. Let me go back to the dashboard. Well, when I first booted this console up,
RL9010 said, finally 8K touching the consumer level.
Yeah. Anyway, so I went into there was some like advertisements for the PS5 Pro, and so
Great Tantrum said, I also think I heard that F1 2024 also support 8K now. Amen said, Yo, Link just got here. Have you done any racing on it, and how is it if so?
Yeah, I just got done doing a daily race, and long and short of it is to agree with Frogboy 1X. I agree with him that it ran smooth, but then again the PS5 ran smooth, so I can't say that it runs smoother than the PS5. All I can say is that it runs good. Both of them run good. I will say that I think that I probably agree with him that it probably looks slightly cleaner than the PS5 in the sense that I didn't really see Mura. I didn't really see the dirty screen, because I guess, Mura comes in different, forms. You might see off-colored spots around the screen. You might see a dirty tint, and I think that's the mirror that I was getting, where the screen looked dirty. The screen did not look dirty. The screen, the colors looked like the colors were all in place without this dirty, smoky looking tint, so I did notice that the reprojection is still there, no question about it. And that's the part where I do not agree with Frogboy. He said the blur was gone, so I don't know what he's talking about. to me, the blur is still there from the reprojection. If you're going in a straight line, everything's clear. When you get to a corner and you start making the turn, that's where you see the reprojection. You will see what looks like blur or ghost trail. There were times where it didn't look that bad. There was times where it looked just as bad as the PS5. So all in all, in a nutshell, I would probably say that as far as this game goes, GT7 on PSVR 2, I did not really see what I felt was a noticeable jump. The only thing that I can really say about the reprojection is the race that I just finished. When I was in a heat of battle against the other cars, the reprojection was less distracting for whatever reason. The cars on the track did look, to me, they did look cleaner. In the track itself, I didn't really notice any reprojection on the track. All the reprojection that I noticed was outside of the track, the trees and all the buildings and stuff off the track. That's where I noticed the reprojection. The track itself, I didn't feel like I saw any reprojection on the track itself. So that's my sum. That's my, pretty much my final verdict that the reprojection was the biggest reason why I was curious about getting the PS5 Pro. And yes, the reprojection is there. At times, it seemed minimal. At times, it was enough to distract me. But if GT7 on PSVR 2 does get a Pro patch, I think it will make a huge difference. So right now I'm downloading No Man's Sky. That game got a patch too. I'm guessing it got both a patch for the flat screen version of the game, which I do know that for certain. I'm not 100% certain that it got a patch for PSVR 2, although it shows that it did get a PSVR 2 patch on the PlayStation dashboard. So I think I'm going to take a quick look at that before I go to bed. Let's see where we are. Let's see where I'm at as far as the download goes. 29 minutes left. Yeah. So I'll be ready to end the stream here shortly. But I'll take like a quick 5-minute look before I go to bed. And then what I'll probably do is I'll go ahead and stream No Man's Sky this weekend and let you guys know if I saw a noticeable difference with No Man's Sky. Now, what I do remember about it because I saw No Man's Sky on the original PSVR 1 and PSVR 2. The original PSVR 1 was blurry as shit. It was just absolutely awful. No Man's Sky on PSVR 2, when it first launched, it was blurry. Then it got a patch, and that patch made a big difference. The game did look a lot better. However, there was still reprojection, and there was moments where the game was a little bit skittish. So yeah, I'll have a look. And I do suspect there will be reprojection. The question is how bad will it be? So,
Great Tantrum said, "Did you also buy the disk drive and stand?"
No.
Amen said, "Good deal, man. Looks like I made the right decision getting the PC instead then."
Oh, I think that's...
Man, I'm loving erasing and R Factor 2 in the PSVR 2. Great Tantrum said, "Amen, this is pre-patch, mind you.
Yeah,
this did not yet release the Pro patch yet."
That's just it, though.
Great Tantrum said, "Kayak VR also has a patch, I think." Yeah,
Kayak VR definitely has a patch. I'll
Amen
take a look at that too.
said, At Tantrum interesting.
Now, Polyphony Digital nor Sony never said anything about PSVR 2 GT7 getting a patch. So I don't know if it will get a patch. I mean, it would seem to me that if you go out of your way to give the flat screen version of this game a patch where it's running 4K 120 with ray tracing, and you go out of your way to let everybody know this is one of the featured games that got a pro patch, if you have such plans to give the PSVR 2 version some sort of patch, I would like to think that they would have told us that it won't be there at launch, but it will come at some point.
Thanks for all you do, Lincoln. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you too. So Polyphony Digital nor Sony made any mention of GT7 getting a patch relative to PSVR 2. Therefore, I don't know if they have plans to even give it a patch. Sony has not been the most transparent. They have not been...
Great Tantrum said, if GT7 get a VR patch, it will be when PSSR is ready for VR support. That will happen later.
That is my hope, Tantrum. But out of the gate, PSVR 2 does not have PSSR support. When PSVR 2 does get PSSR support or PSSR support, if GT7 doesn't get a patch, it either means that this hardware cannot do it, or Sony just don't give two shits about its user base. Where are we at? 22 minutes left? Okay. So yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Before I go...
Great Tantrum said, if they can F us on Astrobot. Great Tantrum said, I hope though.
Astrobot getting VR support is not going to happen through Sony. However, there is Flat to VR Studios. They are a newly formed studio that basically goes to publishers to acquire licenses for their IPs so they can do a VR port of the game. So in that aspect, if Sony's willing to pay these guys, a VR port for Astrobot isn't out of the question. But if we wait for Sony to do it in-house, no, I don't think it's going to happen. So lastly, before I go, the stand. Yeah, this PS5 Pro, it looks skinnier. And towards the bottom, it gets skinnier from the top as you go to the bottom. And it just looks like one of those... it just looks like without the stand, it could tip over kind of easy. If you give it a light bump, it looks like something that could tip over really easy. But they gave you a couple of like rinky-dink pieces to stick underneath it if you want to lay it sideways. As far as the disk drive goes, I don't have a problem with the disk drive, with it not having a disk drive, because...
Glory 0209 said, maybe I have not many hopes for it to take care of Reprojection Q3 Pro and 4099. Glory 0209 said, 4090 asterisk.
Yeah, I definitely know what you meant there. With the Meta or the Oculus PC app, they have their version of reprojection, or which is called a synchronous space warp, but it's not blurry the way PSVR 2 is. As far as racing games goes, the only part of it where you can see the asynchronous space warp is the cars will have a ghost trail. But other than that, the rest of the environment, I don't see any ghost trails or blur. Whereas with the reprojection of PS5 and even this PS5 Pro, anything outside of the racetrack when I'm going around corners, you do see a blur. It's just sometimes it's minimal, sometimes it's noticeable to the point where it's distracting. But yeah, with a 4090, you got enough beefy hardware that you can run just about any sim racing game in VR at a native frame rate, and you don't have to use any sort of DLSS or synchronous space warp. Let's see where we are at on 20 minutes. Yeah, I know a lot of it. Part of it's why it's moving slow is because of me still downloading while I'm streaming. But I'm pretty sure once I end this stream, it'll probably, the download time, remaining time will probably be cut in half. But I was about to say about the no disk drive. I don't have a problem with that because none of my PCs have a disk drive. I mean, what PC, when you walk into a store and you buy a pre-built PC, which of those pre-built PCs has a disk drive in it? You know, disk drives are so dirt cheap these days that if you build a PC and you want a disk drive, just, you know, you can grab one for $20 or whatever. And that's exactly what I did. So the PS5 digital, be the PS5 Pro, or not having a disk drive, that doesn't bother me at all. Because if it did bother me, every one of my PCs would have a disk drive on it. Not only that, even if my PCs had a disk drive, all the games that I buy would still be digital. I mean, where would you find a physical copy of a PC game? So, that being said, now, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and hang it up because
Great Tantrum said, people still like physical media.
I get
they
it.
Can share it or sell it.
Yeah.
Can't do that with digital.
Right, I get that. I mean, for those that prefer physical,
Great Tantrum said, me, I am digital all the way. Much more convenient.
It is. But for those that do want a disk drive, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, that's on them. So, all right, I'm going to get going so I can finish this download and take a quick look at No Man's Sky before I go to bed. So, tomorrow's Friday. I don't know if I'll do a Le Mans Ultimate stream, but I'll definitely, even if it's only for a half hour, 45 minutes, I'll do a No Man's Sky stream. Probably... I'll probably go back and download Resident Evil, the two Resident Evil games, and let you know.
See you later, buddy.
Yep, see ya. Thanks for popping in. I really appreciate it. So yeah, I'll plan on downloading the other two Resident Evil games, the Resident Evil 4 remake and Resident Evil Village, and check those out in VR and let you know how those look as well. So That being said, I'm gonna boogie on out of here. I've been rambling and dragging my feet and shit like that. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow. If not, definitely Saturday. Until then, you all know the line. Wakanda forever. Long live the king, and